What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for November 18th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast, the Monday after a stress-free day of football. Let's start with some quick housekeeping notes. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. Give us a like over there as well. Continue to spread the word. We are growing this thing. Let's continue to grow it. It's a little bit of a grassroots movement, but I like where this is headed. Big things on the horizon, so continue to spread the word. Anything you need Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame related is in the description. There's a link to this year's induction ceremony. The Heritage Collection, which is our online archives, is also up, so go give that a check out. Working on some ideas moving forward for that. So be sure to check out the links in the description for that. And what a weekend for the gift and food drive. We have already exceeded our donations from last year. We still have 2 weeks to go, so continue to make the contributions there. Everything you need is in the description. I have a GoFundMe set up. Remember, we're doing a two-prong approach. We're starting with a fundraiser to buy gift cards for families in need. And then December 1st, we'll start the reverse advent calendar. All of the proceeds benefit the Maddie and Dixon Community Cupboard. So any little bit you have helps, even if it's $5, go ahead and make a donation. And remember, if you do make a donation directly to the Maddie and Dixon Community Cupboard, let them know that it is from us at This Day in Philly Sports History. But I thank you for making the first weekend a huge success. Let's continue to raise some money for our friends and neighbors in need. All the information you need is in the description. All right, let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, what were you going to be watching? Were you going to watch full games or the NFL Red Zone? And it was split 50-50. And for me, I have a couple fantasy teams. I think I've talked about that. I have a family one, which my team is terrible in. I have one that we play in, and it's no money. All you do is not come in last place and have to wear the dress when we go golfing every August before the draft. So those two, I kind of just like, whatever. I'm not in last place in the one, so I'm fine. And I have the two big money leagues. The one league, just injuries have killed me. So I am 5-5 in the other. So I usually would watch the Red Zone. However, I was doing the leaves and I was listening to the Steelers Ravens game, and I was able to catch the end of it. What a game that was. Just hard hitting, good rivalry game. And then that led right into the Bills Chiefs, which was another good game. So I actually, for the first time in years, watched full Sunday afternoon games that were not the Eagles. So it was enjoyable. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. Hopefully you enjoyed the weekend of football. All right, looking ahead now, Eagles play Sunday night in LA. The Rams did win, which means they're kind of hot. They've won 4 of 5, I believe. And it is better for the Eagles that they're coming in not on a 2-game losing streak. So the win yesterday broke that up. But the Eagles have opened as 2.5-point favorites. And this is going to be a tough game. Kind of just starting to look ahead and preview it and get the ideas and everything down for the 3 keys. This is going to be the biggest test, I think, for the Eagles defense. I mean, they have 2 great receivers, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And I say that 5 times real fast. But I think it's going to be the first real big test for the secondary. And they're all going to have to step up and play well. I don't necessarily think, and again, I'm going off the top of my head. I don't know this for sure. I don't necessarily think the Rams have a great running game. So I guess there's an opportunity to expose them there. But Matthew Stafford is the kind of guy who gets the ball out fast. So it's going to be a tough test for this game. Looking forward to it, though. Finally, we have some decent games, and hopefully that whole narrative of, but who have they played, can go away. Standings wise, the Rams are right there battling for the NFC West. It feels like every team out there has a legitimate shot to possibly win that division. From the NFC standpoint, though, the Eagles are 2 games up on the Cardinals right now for the 3 seed, and still 1 game back of Detroit, who absolutely throttled Jacksonville. And the calls for Dougie P to be fired, I'm sure, are going to be loud today. I'm not sure he survives the week, to be honest, or maybe even the day. But that's what we're looking at heading into Sunday Night Football. I'm excited for this game. The Eagles usually have had success out in LA. I'm sure there's going to be a large contingent of Eagles fans out there making it a semi-home game as well. But good test coming up for this team. If they can win this game, I think they're going to be set up in a very, very good position with the Steelers and Ravens coming up in the next four-game pod. But Eagles-Rams, Sunday Night Football, going to be a huge test. We'll continue to cover that game as we go through the week. The Sixers are in Miami tonight. Looks like Joe and Paul George are going to play. I know they asked Nick Nurse about Joe's minutes restriction, and he gave a very non-committal answer, but it did seem like they're going to kind of up that a little bit since they had a couple days since the last game. Hopefully more minutes equals more consistency from Joe, and I think that's the key. I talked about it yesterday where I don't know if he's having trouble getting in shape. If you're going to restrict his minutes, how's he going to get in shape? So we'll see how that goes tonight. Tough test in Miami. Some good news, though. Tyrese Maxey has started practicing. I think he was supposed to test out the hamstring again today. So I am going down next week, the night before Thanksgiving, to the Sixers game. So hopefully we get to see Joe and Tyrese and Paul George and not the Jarrett McCain show with the other guys. But speaking of McCain, I know it's super, super early, but it does look, a lot of people have been talking about this over the past couple days, that the Sixers got a steal with them, and then you have him and Maxey in the backcourt. That's kind of where you see the direction. And again, it's 11 games into his career. So, I mean, we've seen stretches of guys that have played well and not really done much. If you remember Jeremy Lin, the whole Linsanity movement, that kind of was just a flash in the pan. So hopefully this is not a flash in the pan, but a sign of things to come. And there's your backcourt of the future once Joe officially hangs it up, and then you can build some young pieces around it. So as bad as it is right now, and again, this is me probably getting sucked into the vortex again, the future is bright for the Sixers. Flyers also, and I'm laughing because I know I say it and I want to believe it. I don't know. I know how I've seen this story and I know how it's going to end up, and it's like I get sucked in and I don't care. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But the Flyers are in action tonight against Colorado down at the Wells Fargo Center. Both of these teams are kind of in similar positions in their respective conferences. This is going to be a good test of the Avalanche, our veteran team. Flyers look to stay hot, and I just want to see them play with some energy, and that's the key with a young team in the middle of a rebuild right now. We have some Temple football news. One day after winning a game, they let go Stan Drayton as head coach. I don't know if this was, I think I'm on a lot of Temple message boards and Facebook groups and things like that. And I think the spin was everybody's like, oh, this is great. It gives them added time to start their search for a head coach and blah, 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 blah. Stan Drayton made a comment a couple weeks ago about the lack of NIL funding and how difficult it is. I'm paraphrasing here. How difficult it is to compete when the guys that they're playing against are bigger, stronger, faster, because the other schools, I think it was after the Tulane loss, are able to pay guys to come in. And it's been no secret that Temple does not have a strong NIL base. It's something that I guess they're working on. So I question whether it was a combination of what the play on the field was or new president now, if there was some backlash for his comments. Either way, Temple was without a coach. And I don't know what the program's at a crossroads right now. Do they continue with football? I think it's a legitimate question that we have to have at least at a Division I level. I don't know because historically it's not been a good program. Historically, they lose money. So I don't know if that's the answer. I do enjoy it, but the way something's got to give here with the landscape of college sports. But let's say they do keep the program. I think there's two different ways I think they can go. You can continue to get the young coaches who are out to make a name for themselves that likely after a couple years are going to go on to greener pastures. Maybe somebody from a bigger school like a Big Ten or an SEC school that has experience or more experience and can kind of help grow the NIL program. Or you could go with a veteran coach who has been there, done that, is kind of looking to end their career, so to speak, and not necessarily make a name for himself. Someone like a blast from the past, Al Golden, for instance. Whether or not Al Golden wants to do that, I'm just throwing him out there as an example. I'm not saying the Temples should go after Al Golden, but somebody who has experience, isn't kind of trying to make a name for themselves, and could also help rebuild the culture and get the NIL program kind of set up. And then I guess the other option would just be to drop the program completely. Maybe drop the football program, and this is a selfish thing for me, drop the football program and reinvest that money into the basketball program, and maybe that'll help with some of the NIL for the basketball team. So there's some options on the table, but it just, to me, like I said, it seems odd that a day after the win, they're firing him with 2 games left in the season to get a head start. I think there is certainly something to be said about the comments he made, but we'll continue to follow this story. It's definitely something that is very important to me because I obviously I'm a Temple guy. Yes, I like Michigan for football, but I am a Temple guy at heart, football, basketball, and just I want to see the program go back to being a solid program. I don't even care at this point going back to a national program, just a competitive program that we can actually enjoy watching the games. So more on that as the story continues. But to me, those are the two options. I think you either get a big coordinator that's looking to make a name from an SEC or Big Ten school who has experience with NIL, or you get a vet who isn't looking to make a name, might set up shop and stay long term, a la Al Golden. But either way, they need somebody who's going to change the culture and be able to be. And again, this is going to the university is going to have to help out with this. So I think from a university standpoint, they're going to have to decide what they want to do with football. But for me, selfishly, cut the program, put those funds into basketball, and let's get back to where we should be for basketball. All right, today we're going to go back to 1997. And on the same day, he was selected in the expansion draft by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Yes, kids, before they were the Rays, the original name were the Devil Rays. The Devil Rays traded a prospect they selected from Houston to the Phillies for shortstop Kevin Stocker. That prospect was one Bobby Abreu. So Bobby Abreu on this day in 1997 was traded to the Phillies in exchange for Kevin Stocker, who, looking at some of the stats, Stocker was more than just that 93 team shortstop. He actually had a solid career on some pretty bad teams. But this is all about Bobby Abreu. You could call this the Bobby Abreu appreciation post. Played 9 years in Philly, and by many, I think my brother happens to be one of them included, he's kind of the poster child for those underachieving teams that were terrible under Terry Francona, couldn't get over the hump over Larry Bowa, and then the early days of Charlie Manuel. Kind of the poster child. But in his 9 years in Philly, he hit .303, hit 195 homers, 814 RBIs, 314 doubles, made 2 All-Star teams, won a Silver Slugger, won a Gold Glove, which, again, some people, including my brother, will say is fugazi. They gave it to him. They said he was one of the laziest players. I don't know. I'll get more into that in a minute. He is in the Phillies Wall of Fame. He won the Home Run Derby in 2005. Then Bobby was traded in 2006, and then the Phillies went kind of on a run at the end of the 2006 season. His trade opened the door for Shane Victorino to be an everyday starter. But Bobby, for his career, over 2,500 hits, almost 300 home runs, over 1,300 RBIs, almost 600 doubles. He's in the Phillies top 10 in offensive WAR, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, runs, total bases, doubles, walks, and stolen bases. He is a borderline Hall of Fame player, and that whole thing is gaining a ton of support. He still remains on the ballot. He keeps getting enough, and his voting percentage keeps going up. He was a super consistent player, and my take on this is Bobby Abreu is sort of penalized for the Phillies front office lack of building a winning team. It's why Scott Rowland wanted to leave. And I think Bobby, because he was always smiling, just consistently came out every day, did his job, put up numbers, gets a bad rep here in Philly because of the perceived laziness, the perception that he is the reason why the Phillies weren't winning. No, Bobby Abreu was not the reason the Phillies weren't winning. The front office not putting a team around him was the reason why the Phillies weren't winning. So I kind of put Bobby Abreu on the next line down from Donovan and Ryan Howard in the hierarchy of most underrated, underappreciated Philly athletes. Bobby Abreu, one of the most consistent players the Phillies have ever had. And I don't know. All of the accolades he gets, he certainly deserves. I personally do not think he is a Hall of Famer. I think he's kind of right there. If there was a Hall of Very Good, I think Bobby would be there. But the argument that his numbers are shallow or hollow, I don't know. I mean, it's not his fault that the team around him was bad. And I know the argument is always made, well, look what happened after they traded him. But that team was like on the cusp, and it opened the door for a guy like Shane Victorino to step in, be an everyday starter, and kind of be one of the leaders of that 2008 team. So on this day in 1997, the Phillies trade Kevin Stocker to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays for outfield prospect Bobby Abreu, who went on to become one of the best players in Phillies history, and to me, one of the most top 5 underrated athletes of all time in Philadelphia. And that all happened on this day in 1997. And that leads to today's question of the day. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of comments going back and forth on this one. Should be a very active day on the Back to the Future voice and text line. But is Bobby Abreu underrated in Philadelphia? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Obviously, I don't think he's on the same level as Donovan and Ryan Howard. But the argument's there that he could be the third most underrated player ever, or underappreciated player ever in Philadelphia sports, because of the perception that his stats were hollow. But the numbers are the numbers. He put up some great numbers consistently over his 9 years in Philly. But is he underrated and underappreciated in Philly? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. And that leads us into what we're thankful for today. And I mentioned that throughout the rest of the month, we're going to talk about what we're thankful in Philly sports. And today, I am thankful for the 2008 Phillies. And everyone talks about the 2017 Eagles and winning the Super Bowl and how great that was for the city. And make no mistake, that was huge. One of my all-time favorite Philly sports moment. But for me, the 2008 Phillies are the team that broke through and showed us that we can be winners here in Philadelphia. Because before they won in 2008, we always knew we were going to lose. It was just a matter of how. But that team kind of broke through and changed our mindset, changed the way we approach games, and that is why I'm thankful for them. Whether you believe the curse of Billy Penn was real or not, they're the ones that finally broke through. It was the first championship I've seen in my lifetime, at least that I was old enough to remember. And for me, it just, I don't know. Like, I've been asked a couple times. I do the guest spots on the Clashing Conferences, which, by the way, check them out wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And I've been asked, like, which one means more, or what, like, your favorite team in Philly sports history. And for me, it's that 2008 Phillies, because of what they represented and what they meant. The fact that they were the ones that opened the door for the 2017 Eagles. I mean, and I know this is a cheesy cliche, but they won the year that Barack Obama was elected president. Barack Obama ran on a platform of change and hope. Well, that 2008 Phillies team changed the narrative of Philly sports, gave us all hope. So to me, that's why they're my top team, my favorite team, and that one means way more to me than the Eagles Super Bowl, believe it or not. Even though I'm a huge Eagles fan, season ticket holder, all that other good stuff, the 2008 Phillies championship team means more to me than the Super Bowl. Excuse me, because it showed us that we weren't jinxed. It showed us that we could be winners. And this current Phillies run that they're on, it shows us just how hard it is to win one. So to win one in baseball, to me, that's why I'm thankful for them. They captured the city's heart. It was so much fun. The parade, the anticipation, having to wait out the rain delay. That is why today I am thankful for the 2008 Phillies. But let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy for thinking that the 2008 Phillies means more than the 2017 Eagles? I don't know. I've been called crazier things. But that today is what we're thankful for. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. Is Bobby Abreu underrated and underappreciated in Philly? Because on this day in 1997, the Phillies traded Kevin Stocker to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays for Bobby Abreu, who went on to play 9 years here in Philly, put up some pretty good numbers. He's in the Phillies Wall of Fame, and to me, one of the most underappreciated athletes in Philadelphia sports history. We'll have more on the Temple football coaching search and the future of the program as that becomes available. Be sure to go to Philly Goat. It's never too early to start your Christmas shopping. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. They got you covered for all your Philly sports apparel needs. Hats, hoodies, shirts, sweatpants, you name it. They got it. So go check them out and use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. All right, we'll update the Sixers and Flyers tomorrow. Continue to look ahead at the Rams. Be sure to go donate to our gift card fundraiser. The link is in the description. I'm blown away at the outpouring of support so far. Let's blow those numbers out of the water. That's what I wanted, and that's what my goal is. So thank you for all of your help with that. I truly, truly appreciate it. As much as I'm thankful for the 2008 Phils, I am thankful for all of my loyal supporters and listeners out there. You guys are the best. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for November 18th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.